It's wintertime on the north shore of Oahu in the Hawaiian Islands, and these are the beaches and the breaks that are pounded every winter by some of the most awesome and beautiful waves in the entire world. Hi everybody, I'm Mike Chamberlain, and this is one of the most famous North Shore beaches. It's called the Banzai Pipeline, and we're here today because the best bodyboarders in the world have assembled, and they are competing for top prize money, $4,000 to the winner, not to mention the prestige of winning the Crush International Bodyboard Championship. You're going to see the cream of the crop of the fast-growing sport of bodyboarding taking on the challenge of some of the biggest and most powerful waves you've ever seen. The competition promises to be intense and spectacular, so don't go away. We'll be right back with the Crush International Bodyboard Championship from the North Shore of Oahu. Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Chamberlain at the Crush International Bodyboarding Championship at the Banzai Pipeline in Hawaii. The surf is up. The air is just supercharged with excitement because the best bodyboarders in the world are here to compete today. Also here today is a man who in 1976 won the pro surfing title. And his name is Peter Townend. Peter, you have surfed this break a number of times. The difference was you were standing on a surfboard. These guys put their belly to the board. Talk about the difference, surfing and bodyboarding.
Well, the main difference here is in equipment and the lower center of gravity. You know, the guys are much lower to the water, and they only do it two ways. They're either laying prone, as you said, or they drop knee stance. And so they're much lower, and they have a lot further to drop into the wave. And, you know, particularly when you're on a 3-foot piece of polyethylene foam, that can mean an incredible amount of speed and pressure as you get to the bottom. And another real big difference is that they have fins on their feet, and this actually propels them into the wave and also enables them to do some of these exciting maneuvers that actually stand-up surfers can't do. Like, for instance, an El Rolo, where they do a complete loop inside the barrel of a wave, and also belly spins. You know, these are things that the surfers don't do.
You know, they call this place the pipeline because the wave is formed like the symmetrical shape of a pipe, I assume. It's a rough wave, and you really have to know what you're doing to take on a place like the Banzai Pipeline.
Well, you've got to have good judgment, you know. It's a reef, and it comes in and it jacks up real strong, and usually most times, 9 times out of 10, it's a late takeoff, and you know, your heart's in your throat, you take the drop and you get to the bottom, and it's real shallow too. You know, it's only like 3 feet deep when they get to the bottom of that wave, so you don't want to make a mistake. You know, you could actually, you know, what we call get a bit of gravel rash or scrape the coral.
Yeah, get some of the reef at the bottom of your back when you walk out of the water. You don't want that. Mike Stewart is back again. He won this last year. He's back to defend his title.
Well, yeah, you know, he's the incredible performer in this contest. He just seems to have that little bit better pizzazz than anybody else. And, you know, he pioneered the old Rolo move, and he's won it 3 times, but I expect some really stiff competition from another great pipeline rider, Pat Caldwell. You know, he's always been in the finals here. He's never yet won it. And the other guy I think that could be a standout because the waves today, they're real traditional type pipeline waves, is Jack Lindholm. Jack the Ripper is probably the most well-known bodyboarder ever, and he's a veteran. You know, he's 27 years of age, but his experience in waves like this, I think, could pull him through today.
Jack is also the first man to ever ride the pipeline on a bodyboard. We have an international field here today. Talk about some of the people that have come from continents all around the world.
Well, the sport's really developing internationally, and as we saw in preliminary competition, it's no longer just dominated by the Hawaiians. We had an incredible number of Brazilians who got through to the semi-finals, a number of Australians that got through to the semi-finals, and some South Africans. And so, you know, it's really developing, and I think the pressure's on for the Hawaiians to really get together now, and I expect to see a few internationals in the final.
Well, Peter, right now, let's meet the third member of our broadcast team. His name is Steve Jam, and Steve's on the beach right now to check out the conditions at the pipeline today.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Well, it's a warm, overcast day down here at the pipeline, and as the sign says, if you're going to swim, the current's pretty strong. But right out behind me at the break there, the conditions are looking pretty good for bodyboarding. We started off this morning, it was a little bit stormy, but since then the trade winds have kicked up and cleaned up the surf quite a bit. The swell's coming in from the northwest and a little bit more westerly, which is ideal conditions for the pipeline. There should be some great action for the finals. Back to you.
Early this morning, the preliminary rounds took place. So right now, let's take a look back at some of the prelims. It was hot and it was heavy. Let's check it out. Each and every morning, and one side note of interest was the worst wipeout of the contest by Alexandre de Pontes in semi number 2.
Well, that's welcome to Hawaii. It's called paying your dues. You see, he gets sucked up the face here and he gets hung up too high. And he goes down and he's probably picking his teeth out of the reef right here. Here we have another look at it. You can see he just gets hung up right there at the top and he takes a nose plant over the front.
Just another day at the office. Alexandre makes it into the finals. For those of you interested in taking up the sport of bodyboard, don't worry, it's not mandatory to ride the pipeline. In fact, Steve Jam found out what it does take to get into the sport.
I'm here at the Local Motion Surf Shop in downtown Waikiki, and right here in the store they have a big section full of bodyboards and accessories to help you enjoy the sport. First of all, we have the boards. There's all different sizes, all different models, depending on your experience and how much money you want to spend. Another thing you'd need if you wanted to bodyboard in big surf would be swim fins. They'll help you get through the water a little bit quicker, added propulsion, and then to keep the fins on your feet and from getting away from you, we have fin tethers. You just wrap those around your ankles and keep the fins from flying away. Also, a board leash. You wrap that around your wrist, fasten the other end to the board itself, and then if the board should get away from you in the surf, just give it a quick yank and it gets right back to you. So as you can see, it doesn't take a lot to enjoy the sport of bodyboarding, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. Let's go back up now to the North Shore and the Pipeline, Mike Chamberlain and Peter Townend.
Well, it's finals time here at the Crush International Pro Bodyboard Championship. Our 6 finalists represent the best of the best. They'll head out to challenge the Pipeline and each other in a moment. An up-and-coming bodyboarder, and one you should look for, is Jay Reel from Ocean City, Maryland, and he explains how he got into the sport of bodyboarding.
I remember it really clearly. I was about 15 years old, and I was working on the beach for my parents one summer. And I used to ride rafts, ride the whitewater straight into the beach like anyone else. And my brother, who was a bodyboarder, said, "Hey, Jay, why don't you try this out?" And I grabbed his bodyboard, paddled out, fell in love with it. And I guess, as they say, the rest is history.
Bodyboarding, perhaps the world's fastest-growing water sport. Well, the sun has been playing hide-and-seek with us all day here at the Bonsai Pipeline. Right now, it's smiling down upon us, and we're just moments away from the finals. Look ahead, Peter. What's going to happen? What's taking place?
Well, actually, conditions have improved. We've had a rising west-northwest swell all day, and the tide has gone a little lower now. So what I think we're going to see in the finals is I think we're going to see more tube rides. So I think we'll be looking at these guys taking off very deep and trying to get in the tube and probably throwing in a few barrel rolls. So, you know, that's what I think we'll see out there.
All day long, hour to hour, the conditions have gotten better and better and better.
Well, you know, that's what's different about Hawaii. In most places, the waves get worse as the day goes on. In Hawaii, because of the trade winds, it usually gets better as the day goes on.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the finals of the Crush International Bodyboarding Championships at the Bonsai Pipeline. And as you look at the pack, some are competitors, some are the North Shore lifeguards who assist in the event.
And way down the beach on the West Peak, here's Mike Stewart with down-the-line trim speed on the first wave.
I can't believe the board speed these guys get up, and look on top of it, Peter, he gets tubed right there also.
Well, a great opening ride there. He set it up perfectly, and he finished it off with a barrel roll there right on the inside section. And, you know, what can we say? Mike's off to a great start already.
Well, he's back paddling out. Here's a replay of that tube again, Peter.
Well, you can see there he does a half turn on the face, and he pulls it up under the curtain there, and then he sneaks out on the open face, and now he sets up in the closeout for the El Rolo there in the closeout.
Well, on the outside, it's Alexandre de Pontes, the Brazilian, with nowhere to go.
Oh, a steep drop there. You can see he made the drop, and then he didn't have the speed to get back on the open face, and he just gets tons of whitewater all over him there.
Well, up and outside, it looks like, yes, it is. It's Dean Marzol dropping in.
Well, he takes off, and he drops down to the bottom there, and he just sneaks under the curtain. Now he comes to this inside bit here, and he goes up for the old Rolo, and he's a little off on his timing there and gets slammed.
Well, again, that's what the judges are looking for, radical maneuvers.
You can see he comes off the bottom there, and he just didn't get the acceleration. He hits it up there, and he, as I said, he's picking his teeth out of the roof like that other guy.
Well, outside again, it is Mike Stewart, and what a perfectly formed wave this is, Peter Townend.
Well, Stewart's wave selection today is exceptional. He picked off another good wave down the beach, got up there in the pocket. He tries for the big rebound there in the whitewater, and you see him struggling with it, and he just can't quite break free again.
So when the sets come through, it seems that Mike Stewart is always in position. That's why he's the defending champion.
Well, when you won the event 3 times already, I'm sure he knows what waves are going to win it for him. You know, he's got a lot of experience out here. And yeah, speaking of experience, we've yet to see Jack Lindholm down the beach there. It looks like up and riding very late. And it's Pat Caldwell, you know, and he's been a regular finalist out here. He got a wave from down the beach there, that wave closing out on him, though, and he's going to need to get better ones than that, I'm sure.
Pat Caldwell from Ventura, California, his 5th appearance here at the Pipeline. Spectators loving the action here on the North Shore. You know, when you're in the presence of these waves, you are astonished by their absolute power. And a big wave on the outside, it's Jack Lindholm. Peter, I was wondering where this guy had been hiding.
Well, Jack, you know, in the prone stance again, you know, he's mixing it up today. He kneels normally, and today he's prone stance quite a few times. And that's an interesting move from Jack Lindholm.
I think we've got an instant replay of this one. Jack had a steep drop and maneuvered into a very critical section here.
Well, you can see him slowing himself down off the bottom, and he pulls himself up into the barrel right here.
Before the final, Steve Jam asked Jack Lindholm and some others what would be their strategy today.
Well, what do you think it's going to take to win this contest today?
A lot of luck and determination and maneuvers and tube riding.
I think it's just a matter of getting the biggest tubes and the deepest tubes.
Você deve mostrar todo o seu potencial que você tem e você unir as ondas, as ótimas ondas com o que você sabe e o resto seja o que Deus quiser.
He said you got to get out there and use every bit of know-how you can and look for the best waves, and if it's possible, you win. If you don't, you don't.
This is the pipeline, and everybody likes to see the the long tube rides here. So I think long tube rides just might do it.
This is going to take the big move. Everyone's holding up for probably the final to come out with all the tricks, and the final is going to be the heat for the big move. So it's going to be the one big maneuver combined with a bunch of little ones, but I think it's going to be the one big one that's going to pull anyone through.
Well, I think it's going to take the best lined-up waves, the longest tube rides, and the most radical El Rolos. I think what you're going to need is be sitting the deepest and picking the most westerly direction waves.
Well, that was Pat talking. This is Pat writing. It's back to the action. Caldwell picking up a big wave from the west.
And a late drop and a free fall into a belly spin. A great combination there from Pat Caldwell as we see him finish it up on the inside whitewater.
Pat bashes through the whitewater, and Peter, let's look at the slow-mo of this wild spinner. It's like being caught on the freeway going the wrong direction.
Well, you see, as he gets in really late, he gets down to the bottom, and now this wave isn't really tubing too much, so he does the spinner right there in the whitewatery section. Very critical move, and it was really lucky he didn't catch an edge.
And here are the guys responsible for the scoring. Those are the judges in the blue and white. And as I look outside, it's Australian Ross Huck with his chance to perform.
Well, Ross has a big clean wave down the line there. Here he stalls, and the waves just spits all over him as he comes out on the inside section here. And a quick aerial there off the lip, and he comes all the way in with a belly spin right inside. A great wave there for Ross Hawk. He's easily his best of the final so far.
Well, it must be like coming down a wind tunnel. The pipeline breaks with such power. Peter says it spits at you. You can see Ross getting hit with the spray right here.
Well, you know, that spray comes out of the barrel so hard there, it'll spit and it'll leave marks on your back.
Peter, they make it look so simple out there, but yet, even when the wave is over, their work is just beginning. They have to paddle all the way back outside.
Well, it requires tremendous leg strength. You know, you've got those fins on there that propel you along, but still, every time you get to a wave that breaks in front of you, you've got to push that board down and push deep and go up the other side. And, you know, you're talking about a tremendous amount of pressure when a wave breaks on a reef like out here. And, you know, it's not easy work, and probably, you know, just after you've expended a lot of oxygen riding the wave and putting all your thoughts into it, you then got to take a beating to get back into the lineup.
Well, there is a huge wave forming outside, and Peter, who do you guess is in position? None other than world champion Mike Stewart.
And Mike has an incredibly late drop there from the whitewater. He does a beautiful face turn. He pulls it up into the barrel, gets covered up, and he sneaks out under the curtain as tons of whitewater explodes around him. Now he pushes under that whitewater, and he's got to battle his way back. You can see all the turbulence there, and there's reef sucking, and he's trying to fight his way out. He's really not going anywhere right now, and you can see him pushing hard. He's going to have to push under this wave to get back outside. Now we look at the slow-mo here, and he comes into the barrel. You can see that face turn. He came out of it, and that whitewater just landed on his head, and you can see there's tons just heading straight at him, and it just explodes all around him.
It's amazing. It's like Niagara Falls. I mentioned it before. It's like trying to duck under Niagara Falls. Outside, it's Pat Caldwell from Ventura. He's going to go nowhere, Peter.
Well, that was bad luck for Pat. He got in, but the wave just didn't have any shape, and it closed out right on him.
Well, you can't expect every wave to have perfect shape. That's why wave selection and strategy is so important in a contest like this one at the Bonsai Pipeline in Hawaii.
Well, it can mean whether you win or lose. As we see outside, Dean Marzol taking off way outside on a big one, and here he comes around this section. And look at this wave hollow out, and he waves to the crowd, and that's a suicide wave for sure right there.
Well, Dean got literally swallowed up there, Peter.
Oh, that was an incredible ride, and you can see he knows that he's not going to make this wave, so he sticks his hand up there with that glove on, and he waves to the crowd as he goes in, and that's definitely a hero award right there.
Well, that's funny, because I thought he was simply saying bye-bye. But outside, it is Mike Stewart again, and it looks like it's a good position for an El Rolo.
An incredibly timed El Rolo right there. Comes whacking right off the lip, and this could be the big move he was talking about in the earlier interviews.
Mike Stewart, world champion, defending champion. He's one of the best in the business, ladies and gentlemen. The replay shows how talented this young man really is, and that may be the big move of the contest.
As I said, there it was just perfectly timed, and he comes out of it into a belly spin on the inside, and he knows it. He hit it right on.
In position outside, it's Jack Lindholm, the Ripper, with a standing leg takeoff.
Well, you see Jack this time in that kneeling stance, and he actually lost an edge as he came off the bottom. Inside, he hits it, and he takes a bad wipe out inside. He might have made a mistake there, Mike, you know, going for that kneeling stance.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what happened. He did lose control, and folks, time is running low in the finals. Here comes Mike Stewart at you again with yet another wave. He's been everywhere today, Peter.
Oh, and that was just an incredible combination, a great combination there as we see him do a belly spin on the inside. What a way to end.
Well, the horn behind us, Peter, tells us that it is over. The finals are over here at the Bonsai Pipeline of the Crush International Bodyboarding Championships. Some quick thoughts before we go to a break.
Well, the way it looked to me, Mike, I think Mike Stewart has got it in the bag, no problem. I mean, he had the best selection of waves. He did the best maneuvers. He just finished off with the last wave of the heat. He had the first and the last wave. I can't see any way that he didn't win it.
He kind of had it going his way. We await the judge's decision. We'll be back with that after this. Back to the pipeline on the north shore of Oahu, Mike Stewart has been awarded the Crush It Award for this El Rolo. It turned out to be the most radical maneuver of the contest. Well, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the winner. His name is Mike Stewart, not only the winner, but the defending champion. He was also a four-time winner here and also wins the Crush It Award for the most outstanding radical maneuver. Mike, I'm going to tell you, you were in the right place at the right time all day long.
Well, I can't complain with that. I think I was. Somehow I got in the right cycle and things paid off. Caught the right waves when I should have, and everything turned out well.
Four-time winner. This is unbelievable. What is it about this spot that is so agreeable to you?
It's my favorite break. I spend most of the winter here, and it's like my backyard. I spend most of my time on the break.
None of that, but Mike goes home with the check for $4,000. Congratulations, Mike. You're the winner of the Crush International Bodyboard Championship. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I'm Mike Chamberlain for Steve Jam down there and for Peter Townend here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next year from the Bonsai Pipeline. Bye-bye. Accommodation furnished by the beautiful Turtle Bay Hilton and Country Club on the North Shore. Ground transportation furnished by National Car Rental. This has been another Dynocom Sports Special.